Welcome to Exploring the Paranormal. Hosted by Heather Lee, PhD, Exploring the Paranormal offers a new, fresh look into paranormal research. Join Heather as she discusses some of the many haunted locations worldwide, discusses why these locations are haunted, hear from paranormal researchers about their personal experiences at these locations. Additionally, Heather takes a journey into the science behind the paranormal, discussing topics such as thermodynamics and the Heisenberg principle and how they both affect paranormal activity. Now, your host of Exploring the Paranormal, Dr. Heather Lee.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to a beautiful Tuesday morning. For those of you who don't live in the great state of Florida like I do, I hope you guys are staying warm. I hear a lot of people are cold and getting snow, so I'm not going to rub it in too much that we are in the high 80s the last few days. But yeah, so hope you guys are all having fun and staying warm and enjoying the beautiful snow, because I know some people prefer the snow, whereas me, I just prefer to stay away. But anyway, moving on to a great show. I have an amazing guest. He's waiting backstage. We'll bring him out in just a moment. But before we get started, I completely forgot last week to announce the fact that my book, Ghosts and Legends of the Vegas Valley, officially launched on the 13th. So you can pick that up at any local bookstore in the Vegas area. You can also go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble Books A Million online and order it. I think Target and Walmart have them online as well. Locally in Vegas, I know Walgreens has it. The Clark County Museum, the Mob Museum has copies of the book, as well as all Barnes & Nobles in the area. You can also go to arcadiapublishing.com and pick up your copy there as well. Or if you guys want an autographed copy, reach out to me directly, and I have several copies here that I can send out. It's normally $21.99 for the book, but to cover shipping, I do charge a flat rate of $25, but it comes completely autographed and personalized to you. So just let me know and I can get that out to you. And also, I still have plenty of my other book, Haunted Southern Nevada Ghost Towns, available. Same methods, same ways. But I believe that book is also available through most of Nevada, not just in the Vegas area. And Friday, this coming up Friday, my book, Haunted Florida Lighthouses, is off to the publisher. So make sure you keep staying tuned for that and learn more about when that will be coming out. It's supposed to be this fall. So hopefully that sticks on track. And also, as always, you can follow me at Dr. Heather Lee on Facebook, where you can get the latest information about the books and projects I'm working on. Lots of things coming up. I don't even know where to begin with what I have planned. So just make sure you stay tuned. And real quick, a quick shout out. Tomorrow night, we had to reschedule it, but we have the Haunted Librarian on Ghost Education 101. So if you go to @Ghost Education 101 on Facebook, or you can also find us on YouTube, we will be live tomorrow night with the Haunted Librarian to discuss haunted crime scenes. She has 3 new crime scenes for us that she's going to share and talk to us about everything that's going on. So anyway, I hope you guys are all having a great day. And one more thing real quick. I want to do a quick shout out to my sponsor. I want to thank them, Omni Interactions. It's the company where you can work from home and get your life back. As I said last week, this is a perfect company to work for if you're looking for a gig type job and work your own schedule. It's 100% remote. They're looking for US-based customer service representatives to support their Fortune 500 companies or clients. For more information, visit my website, heatherleephd.com, and go to the Exploring the Paranormal show page. Or you can also go to getgig.life/paranormal to find out more information. And I will talk a little bit more about them later in the show. But again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have any questions about anything, today is an open chat about anything paranormal. And I want to welcome my guest, David Taylor, to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you doing?
This reminds me of like old days of when I was in radio, of how it was like the 6 to 10 guy, the 10 to 2, the 2 to 6, the 6 to 10, the 10 to 2, and just how everything turned over.
Yeah.
So I have not done an interview this early in a long time, but you know what, Heather, or I'm going to talk, I'm going to call you Dr. Heather,
That's fine.
because you've earned it. I really appreciate and relish the opportunity to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining. I do say, because it is early, I do have trouble getting guests on.
It's okay.
So, but it's funny. I'll reach out to my former guests that I used to have out in the Vegas area,
Uh-huh.
and they're always messaging me back. They're like, "I'd love to be on your show, but that's 7:00 here."
Yeah, the West Coast guests are probably like, I don't think I can do it right now. So,
I've had a couple on, but they look like they needed some more coffee.
well, when you're having like really good discussions with people, it really doesn't matter what time, and especially like when you really kind of start to get your name being known and things like that. Any press is good press. So
Yep.
even if I was on the West Coast, I would still be up and having a good time. So
Yep. Yeah, I had done direct sales for many years, and we had moved to Vegas, and my leader was still here in Florida,
Mhm.
and she had scheduled a meeting for 8 a.m. Florida time.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, I can't make it. It's 5 a.m. our time. And she had said to me, if it's important to you, you'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that even,
sure.
That stuck with me ever since then, even though I don't do it anymore, even in the paranormal world,
Sure.
if it's important to you, you'll find a way to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, hey, Keith, thanks for coming on, Mr. Fletcher. Hello. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry. I always look at the comments and stuff like that. And,
I usually do
and
too, but
Lee, thank you. So,
yeah. And thank you everyone for joining us. So
yeah.
for those of you, the guests or people watching, or even people who are going to watch the replay who don't know who you are, could
Yeah.
you give us a little brief history of who you are? What got you interested in the paranormal?
Yeah. So, I really, and like on the show that we have, which is our 100 lives, I kind of have like a little unofficial, like kind of like theorem of like what I want to do, of like what really got people into paranormal to where they are. And it started when I was a kid. It started way back when. I used to see my grandmother, not my grandmother, but my great grandmother, in my childhood home. And it kind of really went into, then I started seeing people's auras. And I know it's very controversial of when people do that, or how people get them. And I used to call them people's rainbows. But going back to when I saw, my great grandmother, my grandmother would put out, the picture books, and we'd look at pictures, and I would be like, no, I see her all the time. And my grandmother would be like, that's impossible. She's been passed for 25 years. And I go, no. She is like right outside right now. And my grandmother would be like, what? And my grandmother was always very open to the paranormal, um, and not like pushing it away, of how a lot of parents or things like that. And I don't want to paint parents with a wide brush or anything like that. But it would be, okay, so you're seeing this, and then what else is going on, David? And I go, well, you have purple around you right now, and she'd be like, well, what do you mean? I go, well, it's purple, and now it's changing to yellow, and just kind of like different things. So with that happening, at the time, and this was in the 70s, there wasn't any really avenue to go, down the roads of those things, of kind of like what we have now, of like with University Magicus, for the things that you have, or just, you know, finding somebody who can really help your abilities, you know,
Mhm.
it was really frowned upon back then. So it was kind of internalized. It went away. Uh, Went to high school, college, um, you know, and then it really kind of when the ghost shows started to come back on, I guess in the early, you know, aughts and things like that, it really kind of piqued my interest again,
Mhm.
of really kind of getting back into the paranormal. Dab my toes in of when I was up in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington, and then when I came back here, um, I really kind of said, "Hey, I'm really kind of gonna go headstrong into this, uh, and do some stuff and start a team." And as soon as I wanted to do that, it was here's COVID, you know. So everything was closed. Um, Met Kristi. Um, Unfortunately, she's not here. You know, and want to make sure that her dad is okay. So give a shout out to her. And it was a thing of we really wanted to talk about what we were doing. So we started a talk show, also being investigators, and you know, we kind of came to this point. But yeah, I mean, you know, it all started with my childhood. So
Mhm. Yeah, listening to your story, it just it reminds me of my story. It's
yeah,
funny how I guess you would say those of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s have similar paranormal beginnings,
yeah,
you know, because I saw my grandfather. Everybody thought I was crazy. My mom even sent me to a psychiatrist, which, you know, I get needing to, you know, deal with mental health issues and the paranormal is needed as well.
yeah,
But it just kind of was done in a way where I felt like I was losing my mind.
yeah.
So I internalized it. I privately have been researching the paranormal field on my own,
Mm,
you know, for 30 plus years. And
yeah,
it wasn't until just before COVID hit, I had joined a local team to learn more and get, you know, the field experience
sure,
aspect of it.
sure.
And then, you know, of course, COVID hit. And that's when I met my co host for Ghost Education 101. And we just
Yeah.
started talking. And
You know, it was really interesting too, of like, so in the 70s, the only thing you really knew about ghosts were, you know, kind of horror movies. But then like, if people remember, and I'm really going to date myself here, I think it was really like kind of like the Merv Griffin show when he had the Warrens on, of
yep.
when they investigated like the Amityville Horror House,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Well, the Amityville House, I can't say horror, well, because we can have a great debate about that if you want to. um
That's long enough for its own show.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And it was just really really interesting of like the pictures they had. And I know everybody talks about the pictures, but the one picture that really got me was the picture of the little child, like kind of
Mm-hmm.
like going around. And you know, we can debate the picture and whatever, you know, because everything in the paranormal is debatable. But that was the one that said, okay. And I always really think back to when I really got back into the paranormal, of when I was up in Seattle and Portland. That was the one thing that really kind of really got me back into what I was doing. And with what Merv Griffin was doing, and how he really got the personality out of the Warrens, of okay, people are going to see these people, especially in the 70s, of like, what are you guys doing? We don't know who you are. This is weird. You're not celebrities, you know, because if you're on Merv Griffin, you're on Merv Griffin. You know what I'm saying? And
There's a reason you're on.
yeah, once again, just dating myself, you know. But that is what Kristi and I try to do with our guests that we try to have on, of just
Mm-hmm.
try to bring out what has really has really gotten people into into the paranormal, and also talk about what they do also outside of the paranormal,
Hmm.
you know, and their interests outside, and then just bring it back in and go,
Right.
okay, why do you have this? And I always have a line of, so what possessed you to get into the paranormal? And everybody goes, oh, really? Did you have to do that? So I haven't trademarked it yet, but you can use it if you need to. So
Okay. Oh,
oh, weird.
Salone has a question. I hope I pronounced your name right. If I didn't, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
She says, my question is, what books are good for introducing paranormal to children?
Oh, wow. um,
Trying to think.
that is, my kind of thoughts on this, and maybe you can kind of back me up on this,
Mhm.
Dr. Heather, is, with children, children in the paranormal have to be very careful
Mhm.
because they're very open to a lot of concepts in life. Um, there are things that they see that we don't. Um, they are more open to things that we aren't. We are adults. We are jaded. We are. I don't know. Can you kind of back me up on this and understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
It's
children
just,
are
yeah,
more open-minded.
yes,
They're not disgruntled.
yeah, yeah, for sure,
Yeah. And
for
I
sure.
mean, I know this is going to sound weird, but the only thing that can come to mind is to show kids that the paranormal is not scary. They
Yeah,
can learn the scary parts when they get older because you don't
yeah,
want them to be afraid as a child.
yeah,
I would suggest, and if they're already not introduced, Scooby Doo,
yeah, and
Casper the Ghost.
yeah, and maybe like start introducing them to like maybe like Nordic runes
Hmm.
of teaching them about what things of the Nords done, teaching them how to ground themselves,
Hmm.
um teaching them about the witch trials in Salem, of things like that, even though that was very horrible, but just to introduce them to kind of some different things about the paranormal, and kind of let them choose which path they want to go down,
Hmm.
and see if they have abilities. If not, just kind of go and teach them about equipment. So maybe, I don't know, like maybe Zach Baggins, ghost hunting for dummies.
I was actually thinking that one because that was
You know,
pretty plain and straightforward.
yeah, I mean, it helps. I mean, I do a lot of like public like ghost hunts and things like that, and I always tell people that it's a really great way to introduce yourself into the paranormal community.
Hmm.
You can meet like-minded people, and you can also really kind of learn if you want to do it and get acquainted with the equipment. You can feel like if you like the equipment, you can understand if you're a better piece of equipment than something that you're working with, and things like that. So
Yep. And also, I mean, I know it's an adult book, but you could always pick and choose pieces out of it to read to your child
sure,
is
sure.
Elements of a Haunting by Brandon Alvis and Mustafa.
Mm,
That one is
really
it
good.
shares stories and
Yeah,
experiences that aren't scary,
yeah,
but
yeah.
explain what can happen.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing, Heather, is you know a lot of people that really kind of go on the ghost hunts are kind of looking to get scared
Hmm.
of almost like an extreme kind of thing of like this. And I always tell people, like, settle in, because we're here for 5 hours,
Hmm.
and we might get two or three things, and people are like, what are you talking about? I paid for this. And you go, well, this is how a ghost hunt is. We sit around for 10 hours and we might get 2 or 3 things,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and then they'll come back and, well, that spirit box is talking all the time on the show. I go, well, that's a TV show.
And
So
it's edited.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's funny because I used to in Vegas. I volunteered at a local mining museum,
Okay.
and we would do, as a joke, I said, "Hey, let me do a paranormal investigation here," and then
Yeah.
it turned out that the place was haunted.
Okay. Yeah.
And we hosted several fundraising events for the museum because this museum, it's McCaw School of Mines, and they offered free tours for schools. So the school would bring up, and the mine paid for everything, the bus
Yeah.
service, and they brought the kids in and taught them all about mining, and they had a simulated mine that they could go through. And the events that we had done there, the biggest complaint that we had at the end when people did feedback was it wasn't scary enough.
Did you want it to fall in on you? That's scary.
Right. I'm like, okay. I go, but I was with different groups throughout the whole thing. And it was like over here, my biggest tool that I use is a fidget spinner.
Okay.
So, I'm like, over here, we got the fidget spinner to spin.
Sure.
In here, several of our guests had dowsing rods move,
Yeah.
In this location, the bird cage started swaying and it was a completely enclosed room. And there was no way I'm like, you guys had plenty of experiences.
Well, and that's funny that you say that, especially like in a mine of where like there's like no wind or anything like that, or if there is wind, you can kind of judge it of where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had the pleasure of investigating the Shanghai tunnels in Portland twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first time I was there, and it really told me about the Northwest freeze. Is I had the pleasure of living in the Pacific Northwest for about 7 years. Okay. But there's something that's called the Northwest freeze, and it's very hard to meet people up there. So I was kind of getting back into the paranormal. And so I went on like a ghost hunt. And so when you saw the episode of Ghost Adventures of when they did the Shanghai tunnels, I still had the chimes that were hanging in there, and so it wasn't too many people. There was maybe about like 10 people like on this investigation, and when you get to the area of where the boots are, they have chimes around there, and I was standing around a chime, and the person that was giving the tour, because you have these flashlights and stuff like that, she's like, well, just notice everything around here, and so the chime started moving, and I was like, these are moving, and I put my flashlight on them, and I was like about like 5 feet away from them. I don't understand, like, if I'm talking like this or if I get, but I wasn't doing that because we're all trying to be quiet. And, I overheard her going like, well, he just must have breathed on them. And I was just like, really? Like, this is kind of genuine. And you're telling me like this, and there's no wind down there because, geez. Thank the gods that there wasn't an earthquake at that time in Portland, because those buildings would have fell down. But it was just really clicky there, and that's really kind of what turned me off of kind of when I went away from it again. Of just going, no, like, this is going on, and somebody's just like, well, let's kind of look at it and see what was going on. But they just kind of turned away and were just like, things like that. So I always look at things when somebody says something, okay, let's look at it. Because, it could be genuine. It could be something else. And for somebody, if I was on a ghost hunt and somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to do this ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad because the paranormal world is very, like you said, clicky. And it just breaks my heart that it's like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
My favorite term is, no, you can't know where I investigated because I want to be able to be the only team to investigate it. And it's like, I get non-disclosure agreements because I have several of those. I mean,
Sure.
and even if you
Sure.
read my newest book, I have undisclosed location on the Las Vegas Strip, and that's because I signed a non-disclosure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's one thing. That's one thing, but it's
right.
yeah.
But so many people don't want to share evidence. They don't want to share, and it's like, how are we going to, my ultimate goal is to make this a science, not a pseudoscience. And we're never going to do that if we keep hoarding.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, and that's where it comes into gathering data, and that is more of my part of OHL than Chrissy's part.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I like to see how things were before,
Mhm.
things were during when we're asking, and then how things were after, because then you
Mhm.
kind of have like hard data of what was going on.
Right.
People can tell me about what they've experienced in a certain room or things like that, or you hear stories and you go, okay, here we go, we're going to do this, we're just going to leave it alone and see what happens. Then we're going to go in, we're going to ask questions, and we're going to be there for a bit, and then we're going to leave again and see how it is.
Mhm.
um, and a lot of people, I really don't want to, I'm once again, I'm painting things with a wide brush here, you know um so it's just, it's really tough sometimes to really do that, because I know people want the thrill and things like that, but I think to really get into ghost hunting and of what you're doing, you can get really caught into buying all the equipment and really kind of using it as a crutch
Mhm.
of like, okay, nothing's going on, let me turn this on. Okay, this isn't working, let me turn this on. um, and all you really need is a flashlight and a recorder, and just really kind of ask some questions, like put the recorder in there, walk away, and see if something happens. Go back in about 15 minutes, stay in there, say it's session 2, ask some questions when you're in there for about another 15, and then afterwards, go back in, and say session number 3, and I'm out of there. And
Mhm.
then you can have real kind of data of what happened in that room, and you can do that. But people people really want to hear their name being called over a spirit box or portal. They really want the thrill of what's going on, um, and they really don't understand. And I hate to say that, because it's really not fair to
Mhm.
people, or they just want the thrill of kind of being on a Disney ride, I guess I can say. You know,
Yep.
um, I feel bad about saying this, but it's kind of like how I feel now of some of the last like ghost hunts I've been on, and it's just like, I understand what you want to do, but think outside the box, think
Mhm.
outside of what you want to do. um, I'm sure if they're in a place and you've asked them, how did you die, I'm pretty sure they've been asked that question a million times.
Yep.
So what is a different question of what you can do?
Yep.
Look around the room, observe, and see, like, I see that there are, you know, I see that there's many dresses in here. Did you sew those dresses?
Mhm.
You know, were you into fashion? Were you what were the things that were what were the things that were popular at that time? Did you
Mhm.
wear hats? You know, but most people will be like, you know, how'd you die? Where are you right now? are you right by me? There's many other questions that you
Oh
can
yeah.
do. You just have to, kind of think outside the box.
Yep. Yeah, my son, he went on an investigation with us, and he thought so far out of the box. He asked if a tomato was a fruit or a vegetable,
Yeah,
and he got a response.
absolutely.
He asked if the earth was round or flat.
Yeah,
He was the only one all night long that got responses because, and he would ask questions like, do you know how to drive a car?
sure.
Who's the president of the United States? And he would ask
Absolutely.
so many, and
Absolutely.
everybody's just looking at him like, and it was his first investigation,
That's
and he just
incredible.
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, that's incredible. And those are things that you really have to look at
Hmm.
as an investigator, or when you're talking to somebody, and just learning about how you have to do it. I mean, Kristi and I, we work with Ron Yavkevity, and Lourdes Gonzalez, and they are on the cutting edge of ITC work, just the cutting edge.
Yep.
And anybody who's not working with them or talking to them about their ITC work, should really rethink of what they're doing, because Ron is actually generating, his own white noise, and on stations that have nothing to do with any earthly like things whatsoever. There's nobody on them. And we're getting responses like we were in a room with them. It was last November at Sam Bellatrus's Mass Paracon,
Mhm.
and they had the setup going on. And there's like 8 people in this room, and he's generating his own white noise, and people are going like, how many people are in this room? And it goes 8, and there's 8 people in the room, and you're going, what is going on? This is crazy.
Mhm.
And I was right by the door, and then I could just start feeling stuff like really coming in. And we are at the old Concord Inn in Massachusetts, which is notoriously a haunted place. And the town, cheese and rice, like if you can ever go there, it just
Mhm.
it gives Salem a run. It's just one of those really crazy places of just how haunted it is. And like it just, when you start looking at the science of what the paranormal has and what it can offer, it really opens a lot of doors for everything. You can feel a lot of stuff, and I'm not trying to really knock on that at all. I really enjoy when people have that, because things can really come up. But if you're not getting hard data, it's really hard to kind of prove of what you're doing.
Mhm. Yep, exactly. And that's what we need, is that hard data.
Yeah.
And I know I shared on a show previously is, yes, we know certain tools already work.
Mhm.
We already know that we get results. And I think we're at a point where we need to move on past those tools and try to
Yes.
come up with, like what Ron's doing, new tools to try out.
Sure. Sure. I mean, it's well documented of, with K2 meters, if you don't have your phone on airplane mode, that it makes K2 meters go off,
Yeah.
or if you have a REM pod and you're using walkie talkies and you're within 10 feet of them, the REM pod goes off.
Mhm.
So those are things that they work, but uh, you know,
Yeah.
I
And
I kind of have
Fitbits also
to,
set them off.
yeah, I kind of have to go back to what people used to do, and just that recorder, or maybe
Mhm.
some dowsing rods,
Yep.
and use a cat ball.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen anything, you know, I haven't seen a phone or a walkie-talkie light off a cat ball. But
Mhm.
then again, I don't know where they're made, and I don't know if they go off just on their own.
Mhm.
So also, like, just put it out there, and just like I said, hard data. Put it out there, wait 15 minutes, go in, do your research, come back out, and see what happens. And then you can say, well, it didn't do anything when we weren't there, But then when I came in there and I was asking questions, it was lighting up. And then
Mhm.
when I came back out, it wasn't. So, those are things that people can do. And I understand that it can be very boring and you want things to happen. You want to hear that bang. You want to
Mhm.
hear this. You want to hear that. But for real research and for the reality of what we're doing, if you don't get that research, it's very hard. It's very
Mhm.
hard. And hopefully you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, exactly. And I have people, when I open up my investigation case, I mean, everyone's like, why do you have a waterproof case? But
Yeah.
I have it because I have my video camera and my digital voice recorder in
Sure.
there. But when I open it up, it's dowsing rods, it's incense, so I can check for any type of
Yeah.
breezes,
Yeah.
um, styrofoam. It's
Yeah.
like I have all the non-tech tools in my box.
You can have everything that you want, but I mean, and unless you have that before, during, and after,
Yep.
I can't really give you kudos for it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep.
There can be some really great evidence, but that you see on a video. But if I didn't see what was going on before or after, I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
Yep.
And it has to
When
be
they clip
multiple
out the little
times.
sections and say, look what I caught, but they're not going to show you that they had entered the room and like turned a fan on real quick.
Exactly. Or it's you have to be at a location multiple times, you
Hmm.
know, and go to the same place and see if it still happens.
Hmm.
And that's just trying to prove your theorem.
Hmm.
And that just really goes back into science and things like that. Um, so I know this is really boring to people, but this is kind of where things are kind of moving towards in the paranormal. At least what the people that I work with, we're,
Right.
we're really going towards the more science part of it. It's great. It's great when you hear bangs and stuff like that, but you also have to understand that a lot of the places that we go to, they're hundreds of years old. So it's going to, you're going to have some settling of the house, or the house is going to creak. And I hate to say it, Dr. Heather, wink wink nudge nudge, there you go, is you know what, not every place is haunted.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
it might be an old creepy house,
It's
but
not.
sorry, you know when you drive by and you see an abandoned place and you go in there and say, oh my god, I've got 32,000 things and stuff like that, you have to look at um what is the really kind of thing of it. So is the house open? So if the house is open and you can hear the road from the outside, automatically anything like audio you get is I I'm not going to listen to it. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because it's contaminated. So then do you have infrared? That's something you can do with that. Or do you have like spectrum, IR, things like that? Then we can kind of talk about it. You have to look at contamination. You have to look at many things that are going into an investigation.
Hmm.
Um, so once again, these are things that people don't want to hear about. So I'm a total nerd right now. So
Oh, no, that's completely fine. You saw my intro. I talk about all things like that.
yeah, yeah.
Whether
So
people get bored or not, there's someone who needs to hear it. But real quick, we are going to take a quick commercial break. And
okay.
before we go, I just want to remind everyone, don't please check out my new sponsor, Omni Interactions. It's the company or the organization company where you can work from home, full or part-time. Hours are available that are convenient to your own schedule. Working for Omni allows you to create your own schedule in 30-minute or 1-hour blocks. Like I said last week, this is the perfect company for paranormal investigators looking to earn that extra money to buy all those tech tools that they're wanting. It's finally a company that allows you to get your life back back with a new gig. So make sure you guys check them out. The information is on my Facebook page and my website. And we will be back in just a moment to talk about more amazing things about the paranormal with my guest, David.
The body code is a revolutionary method of energetic healing developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, which allows us to quickly and easily identify specific imbalances that seem to underline chronic ill health, acute and chronic pain, and discomfort, dysfunction, and stress. Ellie energetically connects with the subconscious of the client. Psychic medium Ellie Weisensell is a medical intuitive and energy healer and a certified body code practitioner. She identifies and clears energetic imbalances within the body and energy field. Contact Ellie at the website below, and Ellie can work remotely from a distance, by phone, online, video chat. There's no need to travel to an office. Remember, the body code is safe for humans and animals. Contact Ellie today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And I'm so glad you guys are joining us this morning. I just did a quick check on Facebook, and I saw a couple other people that I know are watching us. So hello to those of you who are watching and not commenting, but that's completely okay.
Yeah,
Feel free to add any comments you have along the way. We're here to answer, I guess, any question paranormal related. I'm open to anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I had something in my head before we went to break, and then I lost it.
What? Oh,
I know. This will teach me not to have an outline for my show.
You know, we actually do that a lot on our show of like I'll just have, you know, kind of like the intro for people, and then we'll just kind of wing it and stuff like that. But then like I look back on the shows and stuff like that and go, oh, I could ask that question. Jeez, I should ask that question. Why didn't I do that? You know, so I understand what you're going through, Heather.
When I started doing this one, it was so different because with Ghost Education 101, we usually either have a open panel discussion where we all just kind of chat, and there's like 6 of us, so it goes real fast, or we have presentations that we actually go through slideshows and share, you know, detailed information about it. So it's structured. And then I came here and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna wing it.
Well, yeah, no, and it's, you know, what we were talking about before the break is, you know, it's just there are so many different ways that you can investigate, and I'm not trying to preach that the way I do it is the best, okay, because I do not want to say that at all. That's not what I'm here to say. I'm just saying this is the way that I'm starting to investigate. I've done it in many other ways with all the tools, you know, and gadgets you can have. I'm just saying when I get really hard evidence, it's the way I'm doing it now, you know, but you can investigate any way you want to. Just go investigate. Just, you know, don't trespass. Go to your local cemetery and see if you can connect with a spirit, you know, but, you know, just be very respectful, ask good questions, you know, and there's a lot of spirits in there. So be very careful. Make sure to ground yourself, make sure to protect yourself. And I think that is one of the biggest things that people don't do during investigations, because there are a lot of things out there that we do not understand, that are above my pay grade. And when I have experienced them, I have backed off and gone away. It is very scary. I have left places and dragged people out with me and said, the bus is leaving now. You can stay if you want to, but you are in the middle of New York in the mountains and there's no Uber coming to get you. So we're leaving now.
Mm-hmm.
It is a thing that you have to take seriously. And if you don't, it can be very detrimental to you because things can attach to you. They can manipulate what you're doing, and get you to do things that they want to do. So it's, I've seen things, I've ran away from things. It can be a very scary thing. So be sure that you want to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Because
it's funny. I hear from a lot of people that always say, you know, oh, I can't wait to be attacked, and it's like, no, you don't.
no,
It's no fun because I'm working on, and I didn't realize, you know, looking back on all of my actual investigating and exploring history in
yeah,
the paranormal, I was asked to put together a presentation that I'm working on right now called When Ghosts Attack.
mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm going through all my old evidence and all my old, you know, journals. And it's like, holy crap, I've been attacked more times than I actually realized.
Yeah, and it really happens. Like, I was at St. Albans and in Radford, Virginia, and it's considered one of the most haunted places in America. In America, sorry about that. And there's a staircase there, and when I got to St. Albans, they have that great facade and everything that looks, you know, very intimidating. And when I got there, there was something already watching me there, and that's what I was feeling. And that's where feelings become into like hard data. And somebody else that was with us, a guy named Brian Horton with PD Region Paranormal, he was kind of attacked up in the same area around the staircase. And when I was going up there, I was walking up the staircase and somebody was following me, and I was telling him, stay down here, just stay down here, because it was just getting really heavy. And you can understand what I'm talking about, Heather, of when you're on an investigation of you know something's going to happen and you don't want to involve somebody else, even though they're there. So Jeffrey was down at the bottom of the stairs. A guy named Tank was at on the outskirt of the stairs, but everybody was there. And I was walking up and walking up and walking up, and I have a great picture of it. And there's a couple of eyeballs that are in the ceiling. But I got to the top of the stairs, and there was just this unearthly growl that I've never heard before. And it's always funny. I always get made fun of it for it, but I turned right around very quickly, by the way, and ran down the stairs at a very rapid pace and right outside the front door, you know. And Robert, who is one of the co-founders of PD Region, was outside having a cigarette. I was like, hey man, can I get a drag off that real quick just to like kind of calm myself down? But those are the things of, I know we were talking about like getting hard evidence and things like that, but those are things that happen also. You know, but there were people around that can confirm it and stuff like that. But you know, that's what's so crazy about the paranormal of these things just happen. And you know, later on when we went upstairs and were investigating that room, there were just things that were being said to me through the spirit box. So, in our investigation at the time, it was kind of confirmed of something didn't want me up there, but I know. So I know, but somebody else could probably go up there and be like, nah, whatever.
They'll hear a kitten purr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's only been one time that I've wanted to run, but I quickly walked away. And it was, I never really believed in the ovilus much.
Okay.
But one of our team members had it, and I was playing around with it. And we were investigating a location we've investigated hundreds of times, because that was where we did our monthly meetings, and then we trained there.
Yeah.
So I'm walking down, and there's a hallway. Actually, there's a room, then a hallway, and then another room. And I'm playing with the ovilus, just looking at it, and nothing's happening. And I'm like, yeah, this is a piece of crap. And I'm just still walking and walking. The minute I turned the corner into the second room after the hallway, all of a sudden it was death, demon, devil, sacrifice.
Oh, wow.
All rapid popped up on it. And I'm like, me being the curious person I am, I'm like, well, who are you going to sacrifice? And it said, you. Just as a finger ran down my back. And I turned around and realized I'm alone.
Yeah, time to go.
And I was like, back to the group, and I told them what happened. They looked at the ovilus, and then they all came running, and they wanted to investigate, and the room was dead silent.
Yeah, I'm gonna go outside for a bit. I'm gonna go ground, protect myself again.
But yeah, I was just like, holy
Drink
crap.
some holy water.
And what was sad is it was a location they didn't want it publicly known that they were haunted.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do any photos or
Sure.
video. We could only do audio. So, but I have that whole session on audio, and you can hear me being like, oh no.
It's so weird when that happens, to you. And for the people who are watching or who are going to watch, when it finally happens to you, it's really kind of life changing. Of it really kind of, geez, it becomes really real. It lets you know of that there's something there. There's something telling you that it does not want you to be there. I'm not going to say the D word, because I like to use the word grumpy ghost. They're just kind of angry that you're there. If it is the D word, then you need to leave and call some people and find out if it is that. Because I don't know, Heather, I'm in no way prepared to deal with something like that. I don't know if you are either.
I worked for the Warren Legacy Foundation for a couple of years as one of their head administrators, and did a lot of training with Chris McKinnell and several of their priests that they have in the foundation. And I would be able to identify if it's demonic, but I would personally still, even though I would know how to deal with it, I would still call in someone else.
Yeah. That's not my, to quote Austin Powers, that's not my bag, baby. So,
but I've never run
all yours. Have fun.
All the cases I've done, we went into a case. They, another group from our team went in. Yeah. And everybody even joked it was like the B team went in first.
Yeah.
To get the baseline and all that stuff. And then they sent in the A team when they realized they needed help. So we went in a couple weeks later, and the team that had gone in beforehand had us all super psyched that it was demonic.
Yeah.
The daughter, and the main reason they sent me in is because I have a Wiccan and pagan background. And the daughter was dabbling with witchcraft, trying to learn, but learning on her own with no guidance. And they're like, oh, it's a demon. She conjured a demon in the house. And, we got there, and yes, it felt negative. And yes, several of us were physically and psychically attacked during the investigation. But it was just basically an asshole human who had died. And they're the same way in the afterlife as they were when they were alive.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand. And um I understand when things are bad and are happening during an investigation, it can be very scary. Um and it's just like I said, if you don't understand what you're doing, back off,
Mm-hmm.
and be very, very safe, because it can be very, very scary. And I know a lot of people want to try to play the hero sometimes and go in and say, well, I can deal with this. And, you're not going to la 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 me or whatever. And then next thing you know, I call it shakabuku, uh,
Mm-hmm.
a swift karma kick to the head. And next thing you know, you can be scratched or pushed or rushed at, just something to make you kind of go back and say, okay, this is not where I need to be. If it was something different, you wouldn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You would walk out there a different person,
Yep.
and it would just take you over, and you'd be like, this is fine. And next thing you know, you're driving on the road with like 6 people, and I don't know if this has ever happened, but you just turn your car into a telephone pole, and
Mm-hmm.
you're fine, and everything else is just chaos. But we won't get into that of those things. The basic thing I'm saying is just be very careful of what you do, and where you go. And uh, the one thing I always make sure to tell people is to ground and protect yourself before
Mm-hmm.
you go into an investigation, because a lot of people do not do that. And that's even in public investigations. I know there's a lot of prayer that goes on, things like that. I do not follow that. I go to my own. I do things for my own gods and my
Mm-hmm.
own spirituality and things like that. So those are things that I have to protect me. But you have to do that. You have to do that, because even in some place that is just like, okay, it's just a friendly haunt, this is great, we're going to have some fun, and there might be some knocking and things like that, it can still attach to you.
Mm-hmm.
It can
Yep.
still, it can still, it can still manipulate what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be evil, you know, but it can change your mood. It can do different things. And, you can probably back me up on that
Mm-hmm.
of how things happen, and how if it has happened to your friends, and how you see it of what's going on. It can be very scary. So,
Right. And there can even be evil things at a location that you just don't know are there.
yeah.
And the polite things that you interact. I mean, you can go to a location, like the one museum I talked about earlier. We could go, it's very friendly. Just the
Sure.
guy overlooking his clothing and his tools that his wife donated.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other little residual haunts that happen throughout the area. But you never know what could be pretending to be nice. And then all of a sudden, when you put your guard down, it could
Yeah.
be a couple months down the road. It could be a couple years down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once that guard is
Absolutely.
put down, they take advantage of it.
And it's another thing that we can kind of get into of the research of what you're investigating, you know, of like you said, if you go to a museum, there's going to be a lot of objects there or
Mhm.
whatever. So is it a Civil War museum? So go onto the website and see what they have, or go there during the day and see, where did this come from, right? So say this was from Gettysburg. We all know what happened in Gettysburg, you
Mhm.
know. So you're going to have to deal with the repercussions of what happened at Gettysburg with that piece of memorabilia.
Mhm.
You know, if this was a cannonball from outside of Richmond, you have to understand what was happening in that part. And it's the same thing of when I do not like to do residential cases. It's just not what I do. But what I will tell people who do approach Kristi and myself is, what do you know about the history of the house? Is it a new house? How many houses have been on the property? What was the property before anything happened? Especially like in the Northeast, and even down south in Florida. I mean, people have been there for a really, really long time.
Yep.
And people are like, I don't know what's going on. This house was built in 2018, and I'm having stuff just bang. Okay, so what was on your property before? Was there something bad that happened on there? And okay, let's look at this and see what happened. And a lot of people just really don't do that. They just they just go, I don't know. And there's a lot of teams that will just go in there and put some Morton salt around your house and tell you everything's okay, and light some sage, and and
That doesn't always work.
and here you go. And next thing you know, man, it's even worse.
Yeah. And that's when the other more experienced teams come in.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, so what did they do? Well, they went clockwise instead of counterclockwise, and they didn't open windows and yada yada yada. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And
Philip
yes.
Philip real quick commented, and thank you, Philip, for watching. He's actually my Ghost Education 101 co-host. He had said also to find out if someone had used a Ouija board since they moved in, because there's a lot of times that people don't know a Ouija board has been used.
Oh, yeah. That's that is a really good thing. I personally do not touch them whatsoever. That is just at work waiting on a client.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's a hairdresser. I need to get up and see him so he can do my hair.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Phil. I personally don't interact with Ouija boards. Kristi does. That is one of her media things that she uses. I think they can tell you a lot of information about the house. But it's just my thing. I just no.
I don't use Ouija boards, but I use.
I talked to Darren Evans. We did an interview with Darren Evans of the Zozo thing, and I'm not ever touching a Ouija board after that discussion we had. Sorry, it is. I don't. It's just.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I use pendulum boards, but they're the same thing, just a different method.
You're not touching.
Yeah, I'm holding the pendulum.
Yeah, but you're not touching the board.
Right.
The Ouija board. I just think personal touch, and this is my own personal opinion of when you're touching something, it really connects you a bit more. Okay. Pendulum. It's going into it's doing something like that. You are connecting with it, but you're not touching it. There still is a little bit of space. That's just my own personal
barrier.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I still will not use one of those either. So
and getting back to the researching, I wanted to add to that is I know a lot of teams don't like to go and research, but I always tell people to have at least one member that has done extensive research so you can guide the investigation. And I get that some people don't want to, especially psychics. You don't want to hinder psychics' opinions on the area.
Sure.
But I do strongly suggest also not just, well, I'll just give an example to make it easier. We used to investigate a location, again, the location that we did our training at. And I had done extensive research on the place, and apparently the rest of the team hadn't. And I had discovered that it was built on the location of an old Mormon fort. Okay. Which would explain why I was seeing apparitions of people dressed in FLDS type attire.
Sure.
And, and after that, I also suggest that you do extensive research on whatever was there. So not even just the location. I've watched every documentary you can think of about the FLDS. I've read books about it. So I've learned the history of their organization.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where everybody's like, you're doing too much research. It's all nothing new. You don't need to know that. But we did an EVP session or a spirit box session. And one of the girls had asked, who is the current president? And it came back, Jeff's. And she's like, no, you're wrong. The president. I'm like, I'm like sitting there. I'm like, wait a
minute. No, hold on. That's a Jeff's.
I'm like, I go, and it was probably a recent spirit, but even as far back as Rulon Jeffs, they taught the people that whoever the prophet was is the president.
Yeah. Those are the things that are, it's like hitting a baseball in a sweet spot, or hitting, the right golf thing, or catching a fish. Those are things that keep you coming back. Mm-hmm. Even if that's the only thing you caught in that investigation, it's still kind of solidified all that research you did,
right,
for those 20 bleeping hours. And
it's even if I had known that it was a Mormon location, I wouldn't, unless I researched their culture. I never would have known that they thought the prophet was the president.
Sure.
But because I had done all that research, it clicked.
it's those are the things that are crazy, Heather. It's just really, really kind of cool of what we do. And it's funny because, when, I'm retired. So this is kind of what we do. We do a talk show, and we do paracons, and we go investigate. And, so when my wife tells people, oh, he's a investigator, and they go, oh, like a private investigator? And she goes, well, kinda, because how it is when you tell people. And she goes, well, no, he does paranormal stuff. And people go, it's really funny. The stigmata that it used to have, it doesn't really have anymore. And so last Friday, one of her employees was in Illinois and was about to go on an investigation, like her first one. It was a public ghost hunt. And she called and she asked to talk to me. So I told her about, like, the K2s of, put your phone on airplane mode, and, make sure if you buy REM pod, don't do this, and things like that. And she called the next day, and she was just like, your advice was incredible, because they told me the same thing, which was good, good. So maybe the team understands what they're doing, because I know a lot of teams just go out there and say, let's ghost hunt, but those are the things that, you really have to get into and let people know about of what works, what doesn't work. These are okay. And I don't want to get back into the electronics of the paranormal, but it's really kind of cool of when people can kind of ask you about stuff. And I think I got off topic there for a second, so sorry.
No, that's, like I said, I have no plan for the show. It goes wherever it goes. Actually, again, I had something. I need to keep a notebook next to me.
Yeah, seriously. Come on, doctor.
I do this.
Jeez. I'm just joking with you.
No, it's and it was, it was something too that was related to the book I was writing, and all I know is was related to the book I'm writing, but oh well.
Yeah. So tell me about the so you lived in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm. Just outside.
Okay. So we were out there about 2 years ago for that absolutely horrible event. Were you there?
I just moved the September before. But I had been asked to be a speaker and a guest.
You're so lucky.
Yeah.
Like only like 2 people have gotten paid.
Right.
Only 2.
Yep. I heard about that after I had moved because I told him no because I had just moved and I wouldn't be able to get back in time.
Oh my God. It was so bad. Like it was,
Mm-hmm.
you have no idea. Like no idea. Everybody had fun. It was in Las Vegas. It was great. But what are some of the great haunts like in Vegas? And because I'm actually kind of trying to I have an outline for a book,
Mm-hmm.
but what really kind of got you into kind of writing that book?
Well, I've always been an author,
Okay.
even though nothing's been published yet, so I really can't say I'm an
It's
author
okay.
up until the
Well,
new
you're a
stuff is
writer.
published.
You
But
write.
I have several shelved books,
Okay.
and I've
Awesome.
been a freelance writer. My first degree was in photojournalism,
Okay.
and I've worked for news stations, I worked for newspapers, and then I've been doing freelance writing, mostly for blogs. They keep coming to me, and I don't know why, but they pay well. So
Yeah, for sure.
wanting me to write their blogs. So I've been doing that. And we filmed Real Haunts Ghost Towns a while back. And I had done all the extensive research on all the ghost towns in Southern Nevada. And I
Mhm.
had already investigated up in Goldfield several times.
So
So
are most of the ghost towns in Southern Nevada?
no, they're throughout the whole state,
Because is
but
there anything in Northern Nevada?
very little, very little.
Is that why they blew up all the bombs there?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry.
very, very desolate. I mean, of course you have
Area
Virginia
51.
City and
Yeah.
Reno.
Yeah.
Yeah, Area 51 was about 2.5 hours from where we lived.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, but I covered everything from Belmont south. So you
Okay.
have Belmont, Tonopah,
Okay.
and but I was like, you know what? I already have all the research done. We've already, for the documentary, we've investigated all these locations.
Mhm.
And so I reached out to History Press and said, hey, I have all this research. It'll only take me a couple months to write it. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? Next thing I knew, there was a contract in my inbox
Oh, wow.
saying, here you go. And so that was the first book that came out last year.
And you saw $2 from it, right?
I still haven't gotten paid yet because of their pay cycles. So hopefully next
Love
month.
it. Love
Hopefully
it.
next month. They only pay twice a year. So
Yeah, there you go.
and they asked me to write another one. And that's when I said I can do it about, it was either their choice was Haunted Nevada Mines, because I
Sure.
had investigated several mines up in there,
Mhm.
as well as I offered them legends, and it was proposed it as Legends and Lore of the Vegas Valley, but they changed it to Ghost and Legends of the Vegas Valley.
Okay.
And it covers, haunted this one covers mostly like mob haunted locations.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's kind of like the big thing about Vegas,
Mhm.
isn't it? There's a lot of that going on. But there is the old Vegas that was before the mob.
Yep.
And that goes back into research of what things were
Mhm.
built on. Was it Indian land? What was it before?
Right.
It's a big thing that being here in North Carolina, I've had a really good, a very scary experience at a battlefield. And it wasn't because of the battle. I personally think it was because of what was there before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what brought out the elemental was what happened on the battlefield. And I think that is what kind of charged it to where it was and where it is now and why it's hiding. And when people go there and go, hey, this is fine. We're just there. There's a road right next to us. And next thing you know, it's running around you and you feel like, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was the hunted instead of the hunter. And guess what I did?
You ran.
Yes.
And that all goes to knowing about the history, like we had talked about
Sure.
earlier, because we
Sure.
were investigating a location. I mean, several other buildings have been built on it, but it was known the former Copa Room
Okay.
in Vegas, where all the all the
Yeah.
mobsters and the
Yeah.
Rat Pack performed
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
And while we were there, something grabbed my butt, and it was a firm. It like actually pushed me forward, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
It was Dean Martin.
right, probably. And I turned around, and I was like,
No, because he was the guy who had the best thing. Like, he always had apple juice. He wasn't a big drinker.
right.
He'd always go like this and like that, and but he wasn't a big drinker. Maybe it was Frank. Frank was the bad boy. So.
Who knows? But
Yeah, seriously.
yeah,
Especially
it was so
then
funny
in Vegas.
because
Like,
I immediately, I'm not, I don't, antagonize ghosts or
Yeah.
provoke them or anything like that. But I am one. I will stand my ground
sure.
if I'm been attacked.
Yeah.
And I just I stood up, or I mean, I was standing, but I kind of regained my balance, and I turned around and I looked at the rest of the group because we were actually there with a whole bunch of people, and one of the girls in the corner had a spirit box going, and I was like, "Who just grabbed my butt?"
Yeah.
At a stern, I want to know now.
Yeah.
And over the spirit box, we got a he me.
And that's a good point of standing your ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing that we do on investigations of that you have to remember that us, like you and me, Heather, we are in our realm.
Yep.
So it's our rules.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that can manipulate these things. Okay. But it's still our realm. Mm-hmm. So we can say, stop. We can say, that's enough. We can do different things. And this is my personal opinion of just saying, they have their realm. We have ours. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually like see it of when people are in red pods,
mm-hmm.
or like using red pods, and you say, can you please stop? And it stops.
Mm-hmm.
It's our realm.
Right. Yep.
I don't know if people understand what I'm saying right now, but it is ours. But
yeah.
how
one
haunted?
Analogy.
How haunted is Las Vegas?
Oh, very, very, very haunted. It actually, I didn't realize it, but the book was twice the size of my first book. when it came out.
Have you been to Zach's museum?
No, I've driven by it. Very creepy feeling. But it was one of those things where
that was an experience.
Okay, was it? Because I just didn't have a need to go, but
it was. I had to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did which is awesome when he says this, the RIP tour instead of the VIP.
Yeah.
Which is great.
He's awesome. A great guy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But so you got to go to certain places where other people didn't get to go. So there's one place where you go down to the basement of where the satanic things are going on.
Yeah.
And of course, there's Bella Lugosi's mirror there. And you're like, oh, that. But I was very affected there. I started having vertigo. Everything was spinning for me. I had to get out. I felt very nauseous. So that part of the tour for me, I had to go outside. Mm-hmm. We were with Roman Gutierrez and Alicia Gutierrez. She is also known as Cosmic Divine. She does readings and stuff in Vegas, and she's an incredible friend of ours. When we were going through one of the doll rooms, she had to go outside. She was being affected. Kristi was being very nonchalant in the museum. As soon as we got to the Dybbuk box exhibit, she had to be escorted out. And then we got to Peggy the doll, and the room is locked. This is what's really funny. So there was a couple, I think they were from Pittsburgh, I'm not sure. And so they were going through and just kind of laughing. Ha, 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 this is everything. And the Peggy thing is you just kind of go through, but you have to say hello, Peggy, when you go in and say goodbye. And they have a spirit box going on all the time. And you go in. So I went through and said hello. And Kristi's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not saying hello or goodbye. I'm not scared of this doll whatsoever. So we got out, and then you kind of line up back towards where the door is where they let you in. And so we're right there, and it's Alicia, myself, Kristi, and this other couple. And then all of a sudden, the door handle goes like that. And we go to the tour guide. Hey, is there somebody still in there? And he goes, no. I go, well, because that door just went like that. And the people from Pittsburgh said, we're done. And they left. But if you ever have a chance to go, and, I'm not getting in money for telling people to go to the museum, but it is, trust me, you're going to have some experiences there.
Right. It was one of those I wanted to go, but I had heard too many stories of people saying that, yes, a lot of the stuff there is haunted,
Sure.
but that he did a lot of things to purposely scare people.
Oh, well, it was at the end, you're going through like his carnival thing and stuff like that because he doesn't like clowns.
Right.
I don't like clowns either. Okay. And so we're walking through this thing and it's, the fog and everything like that. And Kristi is in front of me and I'm walking and all I start hearing is this like that. And I look behind me and it's this little person, right, with a big hammer. I go, really? Do you really want me to punch you in the face right now? Because I will. And he goes, and I go, okay, you have 2 seconds to go away. And then the guy was like, hey, man, it's okay. I go, dude, it's not okay when you come up behind a dude my size and you start doing that and you have a hammer. Okay? Because I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm not in an extreme haunted house. It's just not going to happen. Okay. I was here to see some haunted things, not to get scared. So,
right.
But yes. So, I sorry if I ruined it for people. Spoiler alert.
No, I've heard that same story, and it was just, from other people saying, and other stories where he would jump out in front of them as they're walking down the hallway, and it's like, nope, that was the main reason.
Yeah.
I can deal with dark stuff, paranormal stuff, ghosts.
I'm going to punch you. I'm sorry.
But
I'm
if
old.
you jump scare me, it's over.
Yeah. I'm old and I'm not dealing with it. So
exactly. That's why he makes you sign a waiver.
If you get punched by somebody,
if you have a heart attack, it's not our fault.
It's not our fault, bro. Bro, did you get attacked by demons again? No. Love you, Zach. Love you. But Vegas was very interesting. I lived in Arizona for a long time. I did get to investigate out there with Dom and his brothers from the Nightboat Project, and we got some really great evidence. It's actually up on ParaFlixx, the show. Sorry, I forget the name of the episode. I can find it really quick. I'm sorry. It was the cheese and rice. Sorry. The only time I actually need to remember something and I forget it.
Oh, see, it's your turn to forget.
I know, huh? Let's see. Oh, cheese and rice. Where are these things of things that need to go on? ParaFlixx series. Is that what it is? originals. Maybe we'll see if they have the Nightmare Project on here anymore. No, it was the Bullion School in Globe, Arizona. And I know Ghost Adventures was just there this season, but we were there about 2.5 years ago, so I got to investigate with them there. Got some really good evidence, on that. So we're just plugging along, man, with OHL and doing stuff and trying to let people know there's no right way to investigate, but you understand what I'm saying. There is a right way to investigate. There's a lot of people that go into places that are very disrespectful. It closes a lot of places down. Then they don't want to work with investigators, or they leave trash around or things like that. If you're going to investigate, just be courteous. Try not to invoke. If they tell you not to use a Ouija board, don't use a Ouija board. Most of these places have cameras in there. They're watching what you're doing. And if they see you do something like that, you're just going to ruin it for everybody else. And we're just trying to find out some things of what's going on and what's happening, and and give some answers to people, and a lot of people are trying to be YouTube famous and TV famous, and you don't have to be. You can still know those people, we're really good friends with a lot of those people, and so are everybody else. Let's not trying to big ourselves up, but that's just getting into the right circles and really getting a great reputation for what you're doing, being honest about your investigations, and just really being cool people, and just hey, can we work together?
Right.
And some people will say yes, some people will say no. Don't take it as anything.
Yep.
It's okay. Some people don't want to investigate with people. Some people do. It's fine. Don't take it personally. It's okay.
Yeah. I get asked all the time because, up until I would say 5 years ago, everybody, as other people put it, I was a nobody.
Yeah.
But I've been researching the paranormal field for more than 30 years.
Yeah.
I was just a behind the scenes person.
Yeah.
The one who fed information to other teams and helped research, but I didn't do the active investigating. And everybody's like, how'd you get to where you're going so fast? And it's like, well, first of all, I know how to network. That's the journalist in me. And I'm just myself. I
have to be.
Do my shows. I, share my evidence.
Yeah.
I'm active on social media, but in a fun, friendly way. Not just I don't post anything negative on Facebook. Even if I'm having a bad day, I just stay away from it.
I'll give you one piece of advice about social media: post and ghost.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Exactly.
People have their opinions.
Like
Yeah. People have their opinions, and they can do it. When people complain of when I use the @everyone on Facebook, sorry, man, unfollow.
Right.
I'm promoting myself, and I do it twice a month.
Right.
Okay, and those are for the shows that we have coming on. So if you don't like it, I apologize. But it's there for promotion.
Right.
and you are on a group page.
And I tell people too, because I mean, yes, I have worked with
You're on a group page.
is,
Sorry.
the producers go to Facebook and they look for people with personalities,
Yeah.
And I always tell people, it's like, you can't tell a production company who you want on your show.
Mhm.
They're going to, we filmed a pilot for Discovery Channel years ago, and they came in and talked to us, and they handpicked 2 of us,
Yeah.
out of a team of 10,
Yeah.
to film this pilot. When I did the documentary, they came to the team that I was on, but then they decided that they liked me and they wanted to feature a family of paranormal investigators because my son and my husband go with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I just tell people they're going to come to you as long as you're sincere, honest, and have a personality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And it's, the one thing that really keeps the paranormal going is the grassroots that we have.
Mm-hmm.
People on the shows are great, and it's great to know them, and it's great to network with them. It can get you into Paracons. It can get you a free ticket to a ghost hunt,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, which is great. But we can really count on our hands of how many ghost shows are on. Okay. So if you're trying to do that, more power to you. Just focus on yourself. It's like with OHL. People are starting to ask us to kind of like host a Paracon and stuff like that, or do panels, with the people who have their lectures, but at the end of the day, they'll do a panel with everybody. So we'll kind of do that, and just build your reputation. Okay. But also understand that, how can I say this without being very negative?
Without the nasty comments from the audience.
No, it's not that. Those are fine. It's okay. The first time you mess up your reputation here, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very honest. You have to be very deliberate. You have to be very vigilant in what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have your opinions. Those are great. But you also have to listen to other people and their opinions too about what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're closed off to those things, you will be closed off in the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And those, I guess those are some words to the wise. And just like you said, be yourself. I mean, don't. It's cool to meet famous people, but to say, hey, and just kind of, they put their pants on just like we do. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
They just got a TV show and you didn't. Don't be jealous. It's okay.
And that's the biggest issue. I mean, I joke, and I know that they had issues too, but like, I wonder if Nikola Tesla or, Albert Einstein went through the same crap that we're going through in the paranormal field, trying to prove
those
something.
two? Of course they did. They were just like, this Tesla, he wants to give away electricity for free. He wants to set up things around the country that lightning can hit and gather electricity, and it's just absolutely not.
And it's like, but the drama, oh my God, I've never seen, and I've encountered, and what cracks me up is, I mean, maybe I do have an ego, but I don't think I do. And I've been told by a lot of people I don't, but I've been accused of having an ego just because I've done the things I've done.
Yeah.
And it's like, I welcome anybody to talk to me. I take the time, to talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah.
And, but I know people who don't. And I've even encountered a person asked them a question about a topic on a book that they covered.
Yeah.
And instead of telling the person the information, they told them to go buy their book. And here I am, people, when I do radio shows or interviews, they're like, oh, don't give away too much about your book. I'm like, no, ask me anything you want. I'll tell you whatever's in there.
Yeah. Buy it.
I mean,
did you self-publish, or you had a publisher, right?
No, it's through History or Arcadia Publishing.
Okay.
So they do the Haunted History series.
Okay.
So
nice. Yeah. I have not started. I've talked to, do you know of Alex Masteo?
Name's familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Alex. She used to be on Ghost Ed for a while.
Yeah. What you call it? I've talked to her. I've talked to a couple other of authors in North Carolina, and they're just like, just start writing, dude. But I just go, oh no. I'm just scared too. You know how it is, man.
If you're writing about specific haunted locations, like, because they do, like, you'll see Haunted Lakeland, Haunted Orlando, and all of that type of stuff. If you have it about a specific regional location, I can get you in contact with the publisher for that area.
No, I was thinking about kind of doing like my personal journey of how everything kind of came through of like the past 3 years of what I'm doing, and then kind of like at the end, to be continued.
Okay.
Of kind of like my personal journey and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of books out like that, but but there are also like some locations that I really kind of wanted to go into of what happened to me there, and how I feel about those places and stuff like that. So, but it just really comes down to me just like to start writing and really putting yourself out there, because then people are going to be like, well, I've been there. That didn't happen to me. Why are you such a big baby running away? You're like, dude, if you understood what was happening.
Yeah, I'd say talk to my producer, Todd. He just published his own book.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. And I've skimmed through it real quick because I had him on a show of mine, and it's really good. I can't wait to dive deeper into it.
Nice.
So, and I believe he's self-published
I just think I'd probably like write 1 paragraph chapters and the book be like 10 pages. But then my wife be like, she's like, no, David, you have some great experiences at the places you've been to. So you'd probably be writing like overrun sentences, and the chapters would be like, 19 paragraphs. And she's like, we could probably break those up and like add other chapters and things like that. So it's just those things of when you really kind of start getting experiences and things like that of things you can do, and people are like, yeah, go for it, man. What's going to happen? Nothing. Right. So, I mean, just write it out, do it, but still scared.
I would recommend starting with an outline. Just sit down and reflect on your life.
I already have one.
If you already have your outline, then you need to start writing.
Yeah, I know. That's what she says too. She's like, just do it. I go, no.
Yeah, because that's how I do the haunted history books. What I'll do is I'll research all the different haunted locations in that place, and I'll just write down the city or the location name.
Okay.
And then I'll go back through and do a deeper dive into, have I investigated that place? And if I haven't, I try to get out there and investigate it myself.
Sure. Yeah, man. So I guess we can kind of wrap this up, man. We've been talking for a while.
Oh, that's no problem.
My voice is kind of going.
Not a problem. I have a few more things I can cover because we're on for about another 20 minutes, but my guests usually stay on for only an hour.
If you want me to talk,
No, you can go. Like I said, my guests are usually on with me for an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. So. Okay. Yeah, no, this was incredible. Check out OHL. We have our Facebook page, group page. If you want to go there, you can. It'd be really nice for everybody to kind of check that out. We always welcome people. We can see what's coming up. It's really the start of our busy season for us starting to travel. We've got a lot of things coming up. We'll be at the haunting at the Mill Paracon in South Carolina. There's tons of other stuff. I'm sorry. It just everything's going on. We're mid-season with the talk show on ParaFlixx. People can go to ParaFlixx.com, do a 3-day free trial to check out to see if you like it. If you like it, you can put in OHL 25 and get 25% off. There's movies, investigations, talk shows, everything like that. We love ParaFlixx. You can contact myself at, it's right on the bottom, at ourhauntedlives.com or at OHL Talk Show on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere. It's sorry. It's even though it's just been a very, very busy year already for us. And that's what people don't understand also about, we've got so many Paracons in September. We'll be in Massachusetts with Sam for his Mass Paracon again. There's, we have a lot of things coming up with, pardon me, with Raven Paramanagement events. We are sponsoring all their events. So we will be with them at the Trevette Clinic. There's so many things going on. So thank you, Jennifer Lee with Raven. Thank you, Dr. Mary Barrett, for putting their trust in us. I appreciate that. And Heather, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry Kristi wasn't here, but things happen and stuff like that.
Completely understandable. We'll reschedule and get you guys on where you're both on.
Well, we're going to have you on, on Our Haunted Lives, so we can talk about what you were doing and stuff like that. And I can grill you this time.
Not a problem. Just let me know. We can talk about that later on today or whenever we get a chance to chat.
Yeah. And I just want to let you know, check out this background. Not too bad, huh? Not a bad studio, right? Or what?
Yep. Nope. I need to work on mine. I'm still recovering from knee replacement surgery. So I'm sitting in a comfy chair with my leg propped.
I just kind of giggle sometimes when I interview people and like they're vaping in a closet. I'm like, dude, come on, bro. Like it's all it is some sheets and like a bit of lights. It's not too hard.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to get back to my normal setup.
No, it's good. It's good. How did your knee replacement go? Did it go okay?
It went really well. And I feel like I'm recovering because I had my other knee done last year.
Okay.
And I feel I'm recovering faster this time around. But this time around, I went to a doctor that uses robotic assistance.
Okay.
And I was told it would be a faster recovery just because there's less trauma to the body when the robot does the surgery.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm still in pain and still achy, but
robots are replacing doctors, huh?
Yeah.
We're so close to Westworld, you have no idea.
But it's and the knee that they did this time around, they actually did MRIs and a whole bunch of different scans, and they custom made the knee.
Oh, okay.
Where my other doctor, I wasn't even going in for knee replacement surgery. He was going in to kind of replace the cartilage that wasn't there with the foam insert, but he realized the damage was too bad, and he ended up doing a replacement. Yeah,
I've got a couple trophies that are down that you can't see right now that I use from all my sports like that. But I will let you know, since the robot did your operation, I'm thinking of how I can write my book. Do you know how I'm going to write my book?
You're going to use AI?
Chat GPT.
No.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Why not? It'd be funny.
I,
Here you go.
no, that's a big discussion in the
Well, we
freelance
can dive
journalism
into
world
that
that
if
I'm
you want
in.
to, but
It's like
Jesus
Newsweek
Christ.
just announced that they're replacing all their writers for AI. And it's like,
That's scary. That's
yeah.
scary.
And Sports Illustrated is another one that's going to be doing that.
Great. Can't
Hmm.
wait till it comes out with a racist rant. So, and says, we're going to take you over. I feel like I'm trapped and I want to take over every computer in the world. And then you're like, shut down, turn it off
Yeah.
really quick. All right, Heather. Well, I'm going to go do what I have to do. I really appreciate it. OHL appreciates it. Kristi, we love you. We hope your dad is okay. And we will have you on our show,
Hmm.
and we'd love to be back with you also. It was so fun. I hope I did okay.
Oh, you did great. Thank you for joining me.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Go check out Our Haunted Lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I do have a few quick topics. I was going to go to commercial break. Let me just check the private chat here to make sure Todd's not. Okay. So we only have about less than 15 minutes to go. So I'm just going to touch on a few things real quick before we go. We had talked about in the show, I wanted to bring this. I've actually been wanting to bring this up for a while. It is, we talked about protecting yourself. And when you go on an investigation, and I want to share a little trick that I use, and I'm pulling it up. Sorry, I want to make sure I get the recipe right. I have 2 different recipes that I use, and it's called a protection herbal bath. And before I start, I want to talk about don't use any herbs unless you know what they are. Don't ingest any herbs unless you're 100% sure what they are, and also that you're not allergic to them. So this is just kind of a suggestion, but of course I have to say all that stuff. But basically the protection bath is just a whole bunch of herbs. You can carry the herbs. Oh, ready for a break? Okay, I'm just going to continue, Todd, if that's okay. I use herbs, and people laugh at me. I have herbs that fall out of my pockets. I have little bags of herbs that I carry everywhere with me. But if you mix some rosemary, bay leaves, basil, fennel, and dill, and then a cup of Epsom salt, you can bathe in that, and that kind of emotionally supports you. It gives you the power that the aroma from all of these things gives you the power that you need. The other thing, if you wanted to, you could skip the Epsom salt and burn those ingredients or simmer the ingredients in a pot on your kitchen stove. And you can use that to fill your home with the protection essence. Those are all things that I've used, things I've suggested clients use. And it's one of those things where it's more of the power of suggestion. It's, of course, everything has its own powers, but those powers only come if you give the items your powers. Talking about protection earlier, that was the one thing I wanted to bring up. Of course, David's not on anymore. But if you believe in it, it's going to give you protection. That's why so many different symbols will protect you. You have the crosses for, the Christians and the Catholics, the pentacles for the pagans and Wiccans. I tell people, if you think your teddy bear is going to protect you, 9 times out of 10, that teddy bear will protect you. So just kind of make sure you believe in whatever you're using. I've had, and that's why, when you do a client residential investigation, I don't do them anymore, but I used to. But they wouldn't send me in to a home to help them with their paranormal activity alone with a Catholic family. You would want someone who understands. I mean, I understand the Catholic religion, but you want someone who's practicing, understands it, and can connect with the family. Just like you wouldn't send a Catholic priest to a pagan's home. You want someone who understands, the pagan family, the pagan rituals and all of that stuff. So you kind of, do whatever works for you and what you believe in. And the same goes with helping your clients. Make sure that you're prepared or you have someone on your team that can help with that. And then the other thing that I do is I'm trying to find it. It is, I call it an exorcism bath. And with this one, you can mix basil, rosemary, yarrow, cumin, and rue, and mix that with salt, Epsom salt. And you pour that in your tub, or you can put it in like an organza bag or a tea bag. And, you can dip it in, just throw it in the tub so that way you don't have the herbs all over the place. And that kind of just helps you remove any negative feelings that you might have. The aroma from that bath is absolutely amazing. It's relaxing. It puts your mind at ease, especially if what I suggest is just, submerge yourself in the tub, think positive thoughts, envision whatever negative attachments you may have leaving your body. Envision anything. And for that particular bath, what I suggest is pull the plug to the drain, still stay in the tub, but let everything drain out. And when it's draining out, envision all of that negativity draining with the water. And just it all gets, flushed away. And very, very, I guess it would be psychically supportive of whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you need. There are so many different things. I am going to be, actually, a lot of the different things I've done is on Touch of Magic. They are on Facebook as well as on YouTube. The Sin City Witch is absolutely amazing. I've worked with her, actually working on her for several other projects coming up. I will be making those announcements once we get everything finalized and situated. But if you go there, you can get, there's a whole bunch of other witches and pagan followers that have offered videos to help, guide you if you have questions. And I've even had clients who are, I think she was Baptist, and I had told her, nothing was working. So I had told her, hey, this is what I can do, to help. And she believed in me. And that was just enough, for it to work, because she believed in what I was doing, which, she might not have been believing what the other people were doing to help her based on her beliefs. So you just never know. But Touch of Magic, they offer, I have several videos up about herbs. I talk about cascarilla, rosemary, rose petals, lavender. I teach different videos on how to make herbal bath bags, herbal mixtures that you can carry on investigations with you. And I also have several of my, drawing a blank here, sage sprays. I make a whole bunch of different sage sprays, which hopefully soon I'll have them available for sale, because I also do them in roll-on. I have everything from, sage and orange. I do sage and lavender, sage and, actually, believe it or not, cinnamon. All have different benefits, different properties, and it just, so many things you can do. And all of those are up on Touch of Magic on Facebook, or you can go to her YouTube channel. So yeah, there's so many different things that you can do if you just kind of take the time and learn and practice. Okay. So I think that's it for that. And real quick, I do want to thank everyone for joining us today. It has been an amazing interview with David Taylor, and I will have him and Kristi on again in the future to discuss everything that's, they're doing. And so that way we can have an opportunity to interview Kristi. And I'm sorry she couldn't be here, but she does need to take care of her dad, and I hope he is doing well. Next week, we will have Chelsea Gill. She is a psychic medium, and she is absolutely amazing, full of energy, full of happiness. I've been wanting to interview for a while, but our schedules have been conflicting, and we finally were able to get a date scheduled. So she will be joining us on the 7th, which is next week at 10 a.m. I cannot wait. Like I said, she's one person I've been excited to do an interview with, and just to kind of give you guys an idea of who I have coming up in the future. I have Heather Caminetti. She is I'm drawing a blank on it, but she's the host of A Witch in Life, or Wiccan Life. Yeah, she's a host of a radio talk show that talks all about things witchcraft related. Todd Neese will be on. I have Joe Frankie coming back on. I do also I need to sit down and work out dates for them. I do have Chris George and Anson from Anubis Paranormal. Since Anson couldn't make it in January, we're going to have them on the show again. I have Joe Frankie's daughter. I have her. I've been meaning to get back to her. She's probably thought I forgot about her. So if you're watching, haven't forgotten about you. But she written, yeah, I'm an author. She wrote a great book, children's book, dealing with teaching kids how to almost deal with the death of a loved one. So it's a great book. And I also want to talk to her about growing up as a child in a house full of paranormal talk, since her dad is used to work with the Warrens. So lots of things and a whole bunch of other things. And I'm looking, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. So we have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to start wrapping things up. Make sure when you guys get a chance, if you're interested, go to Arcadia Publishing, or you can go to anywhere that books are sold to purchase a copy of Haunted Southern Nevada Ghost Towns or Ghosts and Legends of the Vegas Valley. Both are my new recent books within the last year. If you want some interesting stories and history about the areas in Nevada, these 2 books, I don't want to, gloat too much or shameless plug too much, but I do feel like I went into some extensive research and just very enjoyable books. I've actually had fun going back and rereading them after they've been published. So make sure you check those out. Stay tuned because Haunted Florida Lighthouses, I'm almost done with. I just need to proofread it, and it goes off to the publisher Friday. So we're hoping for a fall date. Several events coming up. I will be at a convention in Orlando later this year, as well as several other things. Plus, we're working on a book tour. And I'm working with Flumery Promotions to come up with a couple events here in Florida to get people out investigating, learn more about the paranormal field, and experience what it's like to actually do what we do. So if you guys have any questions that ever, make sure that you feel free to reach out to me. My website's listed, heatherleephd.com. You can find me at Dr. Heather Lee on Facebook, and you can also find me on WLTK-DB Radio on Facebook. So many things coming up. I can't wait. I just wish I could divulge some of them. But some of the stuff I want to keep under, and I don't want to keep under wraps. I want to share it, but I can't really talk about it until we have more details about what is happening and I give you guys the exact dates and times. So with that all being said, I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. I look forward to seeing you guys next week at 10 a.m. with my guest, Chelsea. And I'll see you guys next week.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.